Natasha,
Hi, Jeannie.
hi. Do you wear makeup?
I wear makeup for sure.
But whenever I see you, you have no makeup on.
No, trust me, it's makeup. It's it's just more natural looking makeup because I'm one of those people that are like night and day where if you were to see me, walking the dog in the morning and then see me after I've come home and, showered and gotten myself together and I come back out a little later, it's
Mhm.
I am a night and day type of person where I just like super plain Midwest looking to like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, somebody can get their act together. So
They can pick it up a little bit. Your skin
yeah,
looks shiny to me and like very glowy.
it's funny. I just got a different makeup 2 days ago because I had this event yesterday. And I have a very good friend who's a makeup artist. And we were on a shoot last week in the city. And I was like, talk to me about makeup. What do you use? What do you
Oh,
like?
I think I remember you telling me about this. Yeah.
What do you want to
Mm-hmm.
use if you want to look like dewy and glowy and yummy? And she gave me the name of a product, a new product by NARS that just came out. And they did not have it when I went to go look for it. So they recommended something else and it's very glowy.
It works for you. It
It
works
worked.
for
I'm
you.
not too picky. And
Mm-hmm.
you have flawless skin.
No, I don't.
Oh,
Ew.
yes, you do.
No,
You
I
have the
don't.
most beautiful, bright, poreless,
No,
flawless skin.
nope.
It's gorgeous. So,
I
and then
really
you
don't.
are also Vava Voom. Like you're naturally beautiful, but when you go out, you're stunning celeb supermodel. Like you go
Well,
all out.
I literally look like I walk through a tornado on a daily basis. Like literally. Did you see that picture I texted you over the weekend? I'm surprised you didn't, instead of the rainbow, zoom in on me and
No,
just
I
be like,
have
what
to go
happened
back.
to you? What
I have to
happened
go
to
back. I
you?
shut my phone off too.
Yeah. Or yeah, no, I could definitely clean up, but not poreless, nothing like what you mentioned. Thank you for the compliments, but not at all. I am though on a scale of 1 to 10, obsessed with skin, probably to like a level of like 7.5, 8. Like I'm obsessed with learning about it. I'm
I know
so
you are.
excited for today's guest. I just have so many questions. Like
I
I really do.
know. So I'll introduce her.
Yeah. Perfect.
So we're super, super excited. We are having on makeup artist to the stars, Hillary Clark. Hillary's Sephora's former West Coast beauty editor, and she was also an editor for Nordstrom, and she was the youngest editor in their history, by the way.
Ooh, you go, girl.
She also recently launched two of her own companies. One of them is a recent launch, which is her own beauty line called Beauty H.A.C. So I can't wait to hear more about those products. But she also founded Blush Beauty. That's a full beauty hair and makeup service for huge events like weddings or other events that you would, need some help in that area. And most importantly, she's a new bride. So I
Mm-hmm.
can't wait to talk to her about her experience. So thank you so much for joining us today, Hillary.
Oh, thank you, ladies. It is a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. It's funny. This season, I feel, is so organically, it just kind of happened this way. I just feel like it's very empowering for women. Like we have spoken to some amazing entrepreneurs and women in business, and I get the chills. I absolutely love hearing about how you girls do it, your success, what inspires you, when it started, even from a young age, before you made anything of yourself. Like it really makes me feel so happy, and it just helps me propel forward. And I want to know, Hillary, if we can just take it back a little bit, what was it like before you started anything? What led you to all this? Did you always have a love for makeup? Did you always, was it something specific that happened in your life?
Oh, thank you. That's so encouraging to hear. Yeah, yes, specifically. Well, first, I am a third generation beauty professional. So my grandmother,
Okay.
my mother, my aunt, I really grew up in the beauty world. And it's funny you ask when I first knew that beauty was my thing, because several years ago, I was launching one of my first brands that I had developed with Sephora. And someone asked me with a magazine, they said, oh, when did you first know that beauty was your thing? And I paused to think because I can't remember a time when it wasn't. And my mother jumped in and said, oh, I can tell you. And I thought, oh no, what is she going to say? And she went in and told this whole story about how when I was in the second grade, she couldn't figure out why I pretended to be sick one day, but she just let me do it. And then fast forward a week, I woke her up at 4 o'clock in the morning. She thought the house was on fire. I rushed her into her bathroom where all of her makeup was set up. And she said, what is going on here? And I said, Mom, we have to hurry up. I've started a little bit of my makeup. I need your help. And then, I need you to help me pack for school because it's makeup picture day. And she thought I was in second grade. And I thought
that's
that
like
makeup,
6 or 7.
yes, I thought makeup picture day meant that I got to wear makeup. So I pretended to be sick on picture day so that I could go to makeup picture day. So
that is amazing.
So wait, 2 questions. How did it look? And did she let you keep the makeup on?
Oh my God.
We negotiated. I mean, I remember at first she tried to explain to me that it did not mean that I got to wear makeup. And I pulled out the ditto copy and said, look, Mom, it says makeup. That means makeup picture day. I picked up her Chanel compact makeup, like very literal, as a child.
How adorable.
We negotiated and compromised.
So she let you keep a little lip gloss or something.
Yes.
That's great.
Exactly.
And do you remember knowing what to do? Because I always think like men, if you were to open up a makeup bag and open everything, do they know like what goes where? Like, would they know that like blush or rouge goes on your cheeks and not your eyelids? Do you know?
It's a great question. And that's something that I always tell my clients because I do a lot of lessons. And for quite some time, I had a private atelier where women would bring buckets and baskets of makeup and skincare. And they would say, what do? I have a change in my life. I'm working now or I'm not working now. I'm getting a little bit older. My face is changing. The shape is changing. Let's do a lesson. And the first thing that I always tell them, because oftentimes they come to me and they feel a little intimidated or they feel silly that they don't know. And I always tell them it's not intuitive. Beauty is not something that we know how to do. I grew up watching women do makeup and watching women do not only their own makeup, but other people's makeup. So I grew up doing it. So it was a little bit more naturally ingrained in me, but no one should ever feel badly about not knowing exactly what to do. And especially now we're bombarded with so much. We see so many, videos and tutorials, and it's hard to really know what's right for you. So
that's exactly right. So knowing that there's videos and tutorials out there, where should someone start? Should it just be like, oh, I like the way this person's work looks and I'll dive in? Like, because there's so many makeup videos out there. And I'll watch the first couple of minutes and some have been helpful and some have gotten boring and I move on.
Yes, absolutely. I always suggest when someone's looking for a makeup tutorial to follow along and learn for themselves to, number one, look for someone that either looks like you, because then the colors and the applications are going to translate well for you. Or if it's a specific technique, like if it's a specific eyeliner technique, or if you're trying to master a hooded lid or more of an almond shaped eye, look for someone that has that eye shape. Or, for example, if someone has acne, look for someone that has struggled with acne. Look for someone that tackles whatever your concern or your aspiration is very well. So they don't always have to look just like you, but if they are experts in something you would like to achieve, it's always a good bet to look for one of those two things.
That's amazing advice, because it really, to me, I feel like it could become a very overwhelming thought process when you try to find, nail that down, because everyone's features are different and their skin types are different. And to kind of piggyback off that, makeup and skincare, they go hand in hand, I would say. I mean, obviously you're applying makeup, but you want to put it on a canvas that's been well taken care of too. I mean, do you work in that area as well with skincare, or is it strictly makeup?
Oh, I absolutely do. I am an esthetician. So I have a background. I do have a background in skincare. Also, while working as a beauty editor for Sephora.com, I had the amazing opportunity to work with a number of skincare brand founders, from doctors to dermatologists.
Wow.
So I was really deeply educated by experts like Dr. Nicholas Perricone, Dr. Howard Sobel. I also was able to work with some of the best makeup artists. And I was on the teams for makeup for New York Fashion Week. So I worked with the creators of brands like Lorac, Vincent Longo, and even NARS. So I've been able to have the very good fortune of working with the best of the best, both in skin and in makeup.
It's awesome.
That is so awesome. Where are you? Like, where are you located?
I'm in Los Angeles, but I travel quite often for my clients.
I'm sure you do, because we mentioned it earlier, you work with celebrities.
I do. Yes, I do. Real people and celebrities alike.
Real people and celebrities.
Yes,
so
yes.
I wanted to save the celebrity thing for the end, but I want to dive right in.
Sure.
Do you do their makeup for their weddings, or this is more for Fashion Week?
So I have done weddings. Yes, I have done some celebrity weddings. I'll also do a lot of events. So I'll do a lot of red carpet events. So many celebrities now have their own lines of skincare, clothing, makeup, so many different things. So I will do events, red carpets, weddings, or even photo shoots for products, and television as well. So a little bit of everything.
And when someone finds you, do they come to you with their vision, or is this something that you build and work together?
That's a great question. When someone initially comes to me, I do send them or have a conversation with them, and I ask them to tell me a little bit about their relationship with makeup, their comfort level with makeup, because someone may say to you, "Oh, I like a natural looking makeup." Well, natural to one person might mean just a little bit of mascara and gloss, whereas natural to another person means what someone else would call a full face of makeup. So the very first step for me is to find out what their baseline is and what they're used to seeing. So I talk with them a little bit about that. I ask them to come to the consultation. If we're doing a consultation for a wedding, I ask them to come with their makeup on as they normally wear it, because that gives me a really good baseline of what they see every day and what works for them. Of course, we take everything off, but it gives me a good starting point of, okay, this is what they're used to seeing. This is what they're comfortable with, especially with skin, because skin is the most important thing to me. And the next thing that I do that is also really important for all of you brides that are out there listening, when you schedule a consultation or you're talking to someone, be sure to let them know what you don't like. If you have seen makeup on other people, if hopefully not, you've had an experience where you haven't been happy with the way that your makeup has looked, maybe when you were a bridesmaid or if you did some sort of other special event, it's just as important for me to know what you don't like as it is to know where you're going with something. And then we can talk a little bit about, okay, well, this woman in this photo has, a very, accentuated, smoky eyeshadow with a very strong cat eye. Well, that may or may not translate to you and your bone structure. So we work together to make sure that she's able to get the impact that she wants, while it's also going to look great in photos, not only straight on, but also from the sides and when she's looking down.
Yeah, I think it really does go back to just individuality. It could be discouraging sometimes. For example, I know that this glass skin that's like a term I learned, is so desirable, and it is.
Talk to me about glass skin. What is this?
Well, leave that to Hillary, because I'm not a good person to define this, but I have an idea. But yes, Hillary, can you define glass skin?
Glass skin it's a little misleading. I think it's a little unfair, if you will,
Yes.
because glass skin, it's very aspirational, but it's very rarely achievable. There are some women on this planet that have a texture that is almost otherworldly. They have very tiny pores. They have a skin type that is almost translucent. So anything that you put on top of the skin truly appears to reflect light. Not many of us have that kind of skin. And that's actually one of the reasons that I did start Beauty Hack, is because I am so obsessed with skin, and I'm really obsessed with the health of the skin from the inside out and the outside in. And from all of my, amen. Yes. And from all of the things that I've learned from all of the experts that I've been so fortunate to work with over the decades, I've always found that if you help the skin to help itself, you will have skin that glows. And what I mean by that is, whenever I'm prepping someone's face, I always start with a very light, gentle massage. Many of you might know and have heard of a lymphatic drainage massage. And that is going to help to reduce puffiness underneath the eyes, even along the neck. What it does is it drains the fluids when we're, when we're sleeping, when we're resting, or even just because we have, let's face it, more sedentary lifestyles, we can tend to retain more fluid, and fluid can get trapped in the skin and in the face. When you begin by prepping the skin, by practicing lymphatic drainage, you'll notice that puffiness around the eyes will start to drain. The eyes will appear more open. The skin becomes more rosy because you're also stimulating microcirculation. The jawline will become more chiseled, and the face can even lift a bit. So I always like to start with lymphatic drainage. And when I decided to start Beauty Hack, I thought, how can I make that really easy? Because it's not as realistic for a woman every single day, or even when I'm helping them get ready, to pull out a roller or pull out a gua sha and find an oil or cocktail with something else, and then, do all of this work and then start skincare. So what I did is I found the very best roller I could, a stainless steel flat roller. The jade rollers tend to have a dome, which can actually trap fluid in the skin because it can close off your capillaries, your lymphatic capillaries. So a flat stainless steel roller is best. It's cooling. It immediately reduces dermal redness. And then I attached that to the tube with the very best see the difference ingredients that I could find, like clinical levels of vitamin C esters, peptides, and beautiful bioactive bases. We don't have any cosmetic fillers. Every single ingredient is selected to calm, to soothe, and to enhance the clinicals that we have in there for dark spots, for firming, and deeply, deeply hydrating the skin.
I love this approach. It's really just, to me, when I read and when I learn about what's being delivered today in terms of skincare, I feel like it just comes down to learning about your skin, what type of skin you have, and just making it be the best version it could possibly be, right? Like that's really what, and then having realistic expectations too. I mean, I have texture,
Yes.
even when I wear like a nice foundation, I do have texture. People have texture. People are real people.
Yes, they are.
And I think that that's an important message for women to hear and to understand and to love, and just to, like you said earlier, Hillary, pamper yourself.
Pamper yourself.
That's important too.
And really embrace your skin and learn to love your skin. When we do things to our skin, like applying something as simple as applying your moisturizers in your skincare, if we do it as an act of love, that does change, even just the molecular structure of our skin. There are the scientists that, have done studies where they put 2 jars of water next to each other from the same master vessel, and they say affirmations of love to one and they say negative things to the others, and the way that they freeze and crystallize are dramatically different. So I like to bring self-care into your skincare, and it's hard not to smile when you're rolling a beautiful roller across your skin and it leaves it feeling so good. But you bring up a great point, and that is having realistic expectations. And that's one of the things that I really do talk to our clients about is, if you're working on dark spots, it's important to know what kind of dark spot you have, because they are so very different. Melanin deposits form, because of hormones, because of stress, because of UV exposure, so many different things. And, the results happen over time. And even with texture, it's the same thing. And that's why with Beauty Hack, we put a very sophisticated exfoliation system that is very gentle in the skincare products in each of our formulas. So you will see results, but we talk a lot about realistic expectations. And that's why we're called Beauty Hack, not only because we've attached the rollers to the serums, but it's different. It's spelled H.A.C. without the K, so it's Beauty Hack, and that stands for holistic and clinical.
I love that.
We're combining the best of both worlds.
It's so pure. Like this approach of starting from the bottom and working up, like starting from the inside out. It actually, I feel so inspired right now, because makeup to
me too.
It's like always
I'm
been
listening to this and I'm like, another one.
I know. Somebody actually just gave me a gua sha yesterday.
Wait, what? A what?
A gua sha. So it's this stone. It's almost
what is this thing? She mentioned, and I was going to say, how do you pronounce it? I'm horrible. Say it again.
Gua Sha, right? Am I
Yes.
saying that correct?
Yes.
So she just gave it to me, and she's like, I have this. She had won this beautiful beauty kit, and she said, I already have one of these. You take it. I've never heard of it. I have no idea what to do with it. She gave me a little bit of instruction, but little things like this to just take time, give yourself permission to love yourself, and take these little baby steps that might give you a glow that you'll take with you for the rest of the day. So talk
Yes.
to us about this gua sha, because you talked about the stone. Is it,
Yes.
it has like a little indentation and you just sort of like give yourself a massage with it.
Yes. So the
Oh,
gua sha
that's
is,
okay.
yes, gua sha is an ancient beauty tool. It is a stone. And what you do is you can choose any sort of an oil or a very hydrating skincare product. You want to put that over the skin. And then you want to follow in general lymphatic drainage patterns. So you generally want to start at the neck because our lymph nodes that help to drain fluid from the head are in the base of the neck and at the base of the jaw. So you want to start at the neck, and then you want to move upwards and go from the center of the face and sweep outwards and down towards the neck. And it's a very gentle movement. It's a very light pressure. You can do a facial massage with gua sha if you want to, but I always suggest finishing with a very light pressure to then sweep any toxins or any fluids that you've released from the muscles out to your lymphatic system, because your lymphatic system is your body's housekeeper. And for that reason, that's why I attached the rollers to a tube, because with the rollers, they are a little bit more gentle. You don't have to pull. And when they're attached to the product, you don't have to juggle or cocktail. So, but starting with a gua sha is a great, anything that you can do to pamper your skin, you're way ahead. And it's so calming and soothing. You can do it anywhere.
Like when you're caring for your skin in every single way, it's amazing for a person. It alleviates anxiety,
Yes.
depression, like you're any type of self-care, truly. Now, I have a question. This is actually geared towards a bride, like when her wedding day is fast approaching. Let's say it's in anywhere between 4 to 7 days. We don't want to obviously do anything that's going to cause redness or try a new product on our skin that we're not used to trying. Is there any advice that's basic, gentle, I don't know if you want to use the word standard skincare or a standard skincare routine that you can offer to a bride?
Like a facial? Should a bride get a facial?
Right. Should she get a facial? I didn't, because I was so afraid. I was like, I'm not getting facial.
Those
Like,
are fantastic questions. Fantastic questions. I would say if we're talking 4 days before the wedding, do not do anything that you have not done before. Do things that make you happy, do things that make you feel joy, but don't do anything that you haven't done before. And I generally tell my brides, at least 6 months before, you can start having facials. I prefer that they do a facial that tends to be more non-invasive unless they're working on something in particular. But 6 months or so, find a skincare routine that works well for you. Consult with, someone that you trust. Get your skin used to the products that you're using. Make sure that they work for you, and you really will within a 6-month period of time see major improvements in the skin. If someone is engaged 12 to 9 months out, if they have texture or skin issues, that's the time to do like a microdermabrasion or a laser treatment. I definitely don't suggest anyone start doing microderm or microneedling within weeks or even a month beforehand. You want to make sure that you do very gentle things. So I suggest in the days leading up to the wedding, get a lymphatic drainage full body massage. Start doing dry brushing at home. And also, if you're using something like Beauty Hack or a gua sha or another roller, make sure that you're using products that are going to be calming and soothing on your skin. I also suggest that people stay away from retinols or acids or anything like that, because you really want your skin to be in a calm state. You don't want to do anything pro-inflammatory, waxing even. I really suggest that you do, if you can get away with it, 2 weeks ahead of time. If you can't, only go to someone you've gone to in the past. You can do it a week ahead. You can tweeze any little errant hairs if you need to, but really, you want to let your skin just be happy and as calm as possible. leading up to
You
those
are
days.
so soothing and so peaceful.
Thank you.
I told her before you popped on, Tosh, I said, oh my God, her voice is just, I just want to like take a nap. And
Yeah,
like,
no,
Thank you, ladies. That's
I am
so kind.
serious.
you have this knowledge about you. I mean, this is years. You've done this since you're in second grade.
Yes.
You've been going at it, but you have just this soothing quality about you that I almost feel like I just had a facial massage. If this sounds so crazy.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
Put it this way, your success makes sense. It's something that you were clearly born to do,
Oh, thank you, ladies.
Helping
That's so
people in
kind.
some way. We talk about this all the time. Natasha says it too. I love helping people, and you find how you can. And that's such a gift. I have actually a question when it comes to exfoliation. And this is, I always get this question from girls too. For a while, it was like all about scrubbing, right? But what is the best form of exfoliation in your opinion?
So the first thing you want to do is you want to know your skin. You want to gauge your level of reactivity and what your skin can tolerate. So I always like to really start gently, even with a very gentle physical exfoliation, with a very soft microfiber cloth and a very gentle cleanser. That's going to be a great place to start. For a while there, people seemed to have the belief that they needed to cocktail a lot of separate ingredients, a lot of different acids. And for a while there, I was seeing people with such compromised skin barriers that they were coming to me telling me that water hurt their skin, that their skin was actually weepy. And then they would say, but then it gets so dry afterwards, I have to scrub it because it gets so dry and hard. And I had to explain to them, that's actually a micro scab. What you've done is you've exfoliated your skin to the point of where your epidermis is so worn down that it's actually nearly raw. And it's not that you have dry skin. Your skin is trying to create a protective barrier to heal itself. And skin, as I said, that's in a pro-inflammatory state, it can't perform its normal function. So it can't protect itself from UV rays. It can't produce healthy, bouncy cells. So you want to keep your exfoliation effective, but you don't want it to be traumatic. So retinol is something that a lot of people employ, but not very many people tolerate well. I suggest testing, getting any sort of samples, trying it on your neck if you want. But you do need to be aware that it is going to make you UV sensitive. And especially if you are going through hormonal changes, pregnancy, later in life, if they're menopause, pregnancy, any of those things can make you more sun sensitive. So I really like using a different exfoliation system. I like to use Bakucha oil, which is a natural vitamin A retinol alternative. And the thing that's so exciting about this is that so many times we hear, oh, but my retinol comes from my dermatologist. It's a prescription. It's really going to work, but it's hell on my skin. And Bakucha oil, it's natural. It's not going to work as well. And that's just not true. We have really exciting clinical studies that it helps to improve cell turnover just as dramatically as retinol does. It also helps to stimulate collagen and elastin production in the same way. The best news is it's never going to irritate your skin, and it can also be used day and night because it does not make you sensitive to UV. So I love to use Bakucha oil. I also like hibiscus flower, believe it or not, is a natural vitamin A. When you use the two together, that can further assist exfoliation. And you can use ferments like rice and other things in masks and cleansers to gently exfoliate.
This is actually a very good point because I know that a lot of brides, when they're looking to book a makeup artist for their wedding, they do this pretty far in advance, sometimes a year plus, because people book up and they're not available on their wedding date. So it would make perfect sense that when somebody does reach out and obtain your services, to receive this plan for their skin, almost like you start with a consultation. And you're on almost like a fitness plan, but for your skin.
I was thinking the same thing. When she's speaking of this, I was thinking, wow, just like people have fitness plans, you know,
goals. That's right.
Goals.
Like increase your water intake.
Yeah.
Use these products. Get yourself acquainted with them. They will hydrate. They will soothe. This is what you'll do 6 months in advance. Maybe get a particular type of treatment. So I think that would be a really good plan. And you just got married, right?
I did just get married. Yes, I just had my 1 month anniversary.
You're freshly married.
Freshly married.
Where did you
yes.
get married? Did you get married in LA?
No, I did not. So my husband and I, his family, his parents, we just recently moved them to Las Vegas so that they could have a better care. They're in their 90s. So we recently moved them to Las Vegas. And if you were to ask either of us, the last place we would probably want to get married would be Las Vegas. But we did it there. And we did a very small ceremony there with just family. It's hard for them to travel. So we were able to just do it in the private dining room of a restaurant there. And it was perfect. It was intimate. And we will be having a huge party for everyone that says to us, what? You guys did what? Because we planned this with only 3 weeks. So brides, if you need last minute planning tips, I've got them for you. So
did you do your own makeup?
Great question. So I did not. I knew that I did not want to do my own hair. I did not want to do my own makeup. I've done it for events in the past. And I thought, on that day, I just don't really want to think about it. I always suggest that brides do a trial, but because I had booked so many of my own artists, they weren't available. And I thought, I'm not really going to worry about it. So I did find a team there that did both. And I cheated a little bit. I prepped my hair. I prepped my skin. I actually put on my first pair of lashes because I doubled up on my lashes because I wanted a really natural makeup look. I really just wanted the emphasis to be around my lash line. So they came, they did the hair and makeup, and then I tweaked it at the end. So a little bit, it was a little bit of both.
I love that.
I would love to see a picture of you on your wedding.
I know. I want to see too.
Our producer, Nicole, she's going to ask you for a picture of you, of yourself. And when you send it, if you could include your wedding picture, I would love to see this lash business.
Yeah.
Speaking of lashes, I have a friend that gave me this, it's not Lash Boost. I forgot the brand, but it's the serum that you put on your eyelashes before you go to bed, just on the top.
Yes.
My eyelashes have grown.
Okay.
They have grown quite a bit. And she gave it to me for Christmas. So now we're like 6 months into this and my eyelashes are long.
For some reason, when you said this, Natasha, I'm sorry. I'm a 4-year-old child. I really just have to just say this. I just pictured you like using something that's just you shouldn't be using and your eyelashes grow like 6 feet.
Oh my goodness. I am so glad that you bring this up. I'm so glad. So tell me, Natasha, have you noticed, do they grow at different lengths or are they uniform in lash? Okay. So
they are definitely different lengths, but they don't look weird and wispy like most people. Because I can usually see if somebody's done the extensions and I think they look very odd. They are definitely not uniform. There are some longer than others, but it doesn't bother me.
Okay, that's great. So when I'm so glad you brought this up. So there are 2 different kinds of lash serums. There are just the natural lash serums that have wonderful botanicals and even some peptides and great science plus nature together. Those take longer to work, but they will give you a lush, glossy, thicker looking lash. There is an ingredient in some lash serums that was actually discovered by accident, because ophthalmologists were working with glaucoma patients and they were using these drops in their eyes and realized, oh, this makes their lashes grow longer. And, Latisse is one of the brands that was at the forefront of this. One of the downsides, not only can it change, some pigmentation and some color in the iris, but it also can cause the lashes to grow kind of spidery-like legs. They can grow longer in some areas, not so long in others. Sometimes they shoot out in different directions, and they can sometimes be more brittle, but it does work. They do grow. So I recommend, and for some people, they just happen to get lucky and they grow in and they're beautiful and they're lush and they're long and they don't point in different directions and they aren't dry or brittle. So it's a great option for some people. That's something that I recommend if I'm talking to a bride a year out and she wants to try a lash growth serum that does have that ingredient. I will make sure that they do it very early on, because the last thing you want to do is start this 3 months before and then feel like you have these wild eyelashes. I mean, of course, we can always trim and groom and do anything to fix any of that, but it can sometimes make them a little bit brittle. So lash serums are great. You just have to make decisions and know what your options are.
Pay attention to what you're doing. It's funny that you bring that up, that wispy sort of spidery thing where they look a little tangly.
Yes.
when I look at someone's eyelashes, I was very concerned about that. And I just was using it and going at it. And it was a few months into it that I looked in the mirror and I just made it part of my nighttime routine. I would,
Right.
remove my makeup, put all of my, serums and stuff on before I go to bed, my mask, and then I put on this serum. And then a few months later, I literally was like, doing one of those blink things in the
Yes.
mirror because they were longer. And then friends started to say, your
Those blink
eyelashes are
things.
longer, where you're doing like this, like
I know what
a
you're
cartoon.
talking about. Yeah.
Friends started to point out, what mascara are you using? Your eyelashes are looking really long. And I'm like, it's not the mascara. My mascara I change all the time. Because is it true that your eyelashes can, I don't know, stop being affected by mascara? Like I feel like it will look great, and then all of a sudden it stops working. And I'll buy the same mascara but a brand new tube of it, and it's just not the same. What's your opinion on that?
That's a good question. I think that it's a combination of things. I think sometimes we get used to seeing our lashes in a certain way, and sometimes we feel like we're not getting the same fullness. Oftentimes, too, it can depend on the batch or how long it sat on the shelf. So sometimes you'll get one that seems like it gives you like plumper, fuller, more luscious looking lashes. And then I've purchased other tubes and I'm like, this is just not giving it to me. What is going on here? And I have to get something else. Sometimes it can be the batch number, how long it's been in the store. It can also sometimes be the difference in your skincare. So if you're using skincare that has more oil around the eye, sometimes it's not able to adhere as well. So we have to consider all of those things. I too like to switch up my mascaras. I do tend to go back to the same one eventually, but we've got to try. We've got to try. And I'm just so thrilled to hear that you're having such a great result with your lash serum. So congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you. It's working for me, but I definitely see what you mean with the spidery thing. That was a perfect description.
Yes.
It.
Well, I love a beauty win. So I'm celebrating for you.
So bridal makeup, somebody's reached out to you. They're planning for their wedding. Are you the one to do the bride and then you have a team to work with the rest of the group? Like the mother of the bride, the father of the bride, the bridesmaids?
For a larger group, typically, yes. And it does depend on the size of the group. So I generally always do work with the bride, the mother of the bride, whomever she really wants me to work with, groom, the father of the bride, whomever she might want me to work with, and then members of my team will work with her bridal party, and we schedule these things out. So we make sure that, everything goes very smoothly that day. And again, one of the most important things is talking to her about the flow of her day. Is she doing a first look? Are they doing photography before? Are they doing photography after? And sometimes that can really change what the schedule looks like. So being flexible and then always knowing that things go differently the day of, and just being flexible to whatever may happen. There's always time to get it done.
And when you mentioned flow of the day, what's your opinion on having a makeup artist sort of be there with you throughout do you need to have a touch up per se? How many hours would pass where maybe a touch-up would be needed, in your opinion? I remember from my wedding, my makeup stayed on the whole time. I think I just had to reapply lipstick at one point. It was a 12-hour day. But, you have to consider, what if it's a summer wedding and it's really hot outside? And what if you're sweating? And I don't know what the case is. There are girls that suffer from acne. Do they need any kind of reapplication? I don't know. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yes, there are so many variables. And I would say 40% of the time people do ask me to stay, because we're seeing a lot more women are changing their looks. So they're changing their outfits, they're changing their looks. It's an opportunity for them to mix it up. So many times they feel that, phew, I didn't really need to do that. I can't believe how good my makeup looks at the end of the day. Still 12 hours later, I want to sleep in it, but boy, I'm sure glad that you are here. So, and it's also nice too, because I will touch up, people in their wedding party and the guests. There can be a lot of tears. I like to find out if they are going to be doing a first look. If they're going to be doing a first look, there's usually a lot of hugging and kissing with their groom to be, and then they'll go to the ceremony and then do photos. if it's going to be quite warm, it's often a good idea. And if someone does suffer from acne, or if they are at the phase in their life where they're having hot flashes, or even a lot of people have kids now. So if they're going to be picking up and snuggling with their kids or little ones, it's nice to know that you have someone there to help you touch up. I can also and often create a touch-up kit for my brides, and I will teach their maid of honor, their their man
Very
of honor.
cool.
That was a question I
That is
had.
amazing.
That's wonderful.
I
I'll give
love
them
that
little
idea.
tutorials on how to touch up their bride. So
Their
Oh,
groom.
is
That would be
so
an amazing
cool.
picture, having the groom touch up his
Yeah.
bride.
yeah,
Do you know?
Yeah.
Oh my
Ever
God, how
been-
cute.
It's
Do you ever
very
have grooms have their makeup done?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've
There
had
are
a couple of
times-
grooms go
Yeah.
like full out makeup, and then we
Absolutely.
have some that just want to look not like they have makeup on, but just look a
Yes.
little better.
Yes, some just want maybe a little concealer, a little anti-shine, sometimes a little, a setting spray with an SPF, but some want lashes, they want liner, they want it all. And you know what? I'm here to give you whatever you want. And I love all of it. So,
I just want to say something about my husband when you just said this. I don't
He would
get it.
never, would he?
Well,
Like,
no, he would never, but he literally puts nothing ever on his face, and he has the most perfect skin in the universe. Like
can I just tell you? Yeah, mine too.
I'm like, what do you? He doesn't even wash his. He doesn't. It's water. I said, do you put anything on water?
I know. And I have a skincare company, and like our serums. It's like, I can, for those of you that are listening, you can't see this, but like our under eye serum with this roller, it's tinted. So that helps with dark circles, and he's more deeply pigmented than I am. So, sometimes when I'm working on formulas, I'm like, this is color correcting. You're darker under your eyes. Can I try this on you? And he looks at me, he's like, really? And he'll stand there like a 3-year-old, like, if you must. And I have to promise to wash it off immediately. And then for our neck face too, it has a slight green to help to reduce the redness. And, I'll be like, I need to try this on you. I need to see how this feels. And he will concede because he loves me, but I have to promise to wipe it off. And he has this skin and these eyelashes, this skin and these eyelashes.
Wow.
I mean,
It's like, really?
Yeah.
When we drive, sometimes I look at him. I'm like, no crow's feet.
Yep.
No, nothing.
Yep.
Like, and I can't help but stare. And I'm like, how is this possible?
Isn't it funny? I know. It's
That's
just,
right. It's like a curse. Maybe it's because of what we've put our skin through the years. Do you know? When you just let nature be and you don't mess
she's
with
putting
it.
it on.
Now
You're making me
That's
think.
a brilliant applicator.
Isn't it great?
So there's no brushes needed or blenders. Like it's all in one. It's
and
sort
it
of just
rolls. Yep. And you'll notice it's flat, and it's also stainless steel, so you can throw it in the fridge, and like it goes right in here. So if you had a long day or if you have allergies, you just roll right over the eyelids and all the way around the eyes. And I designed this to be beautiful under foundation, concealer. People find they don't need to wear as much because it is color correcting, but it just helps to reduce puffiness, and it just feels so darn good. So
I can't wait to like go on your website and just look at everything. I wish I could just
I
squish you and put you on
know.
my shoulder, like to just like.
you have to call us when you come to New York. I'd love to meet you.
I was going to say, I would love to get to pamper you guys in person.
And then when you came up close to the camera, because I'm obsessed, I do look, I'm very like, I look at everybody's, I can't help it. It's just, I just look.
Yeah.
You're so beautiful. Like she came, I was like, oh, she's her skin. So it's
oh my gosh. Thank you.
It makes sense.
It's beauty hack.
Oh,
I have to say, I've always taken great care of my skin, but I've noticed such incredible improvements, and especially with the larger roller, which you guys can see, it allows you to get right in there. And I just
that's amazing.
I'm kind of cheating with you guys today. I only have on
I love it.
Tinted sunscreen and mascara and lips.
Speaking of hack, so you've given us a couple of things like this massage, draining the lymphatic system. Do you have any like hacks where you're just like, this is a life changer? It's something that you wouldn't think of, like a little quick, I swear by this, eat this, rub this product, whatever it is. Do you have any sort of little like quick fix that you could recommend?
Oh, I do, especially for anybody that has young children. You're running out the door, you don't have a lot of time, but you want to look like you're awake and you're alive and you're fresh. I love taking a flesh toned pencil. So it's like an eyeliner pencil, if you will. And a few brands make these now. And I like to take it and put it right in the inner membrane of your lower membrane. And then right in the inner corner V across, if you're fair or if your lids get a little red, right across the lash line in the corner of your eyes and around your nose. And immediately you're going to look like you're awake. But you can't see it. It's completely invisible. And it's going to just make your eyes look wide awake right away.
So it's these little areas of the eye or face that would normally get red, right? And you're putting this very natural color pigmentation to remove the red.
Exactly. And you're not putting it underneath the eye, all the way underneath the eye like you would a concealer.
You're putting it inside, like on the wet part of.
You're putting it on your inner membrane. So we've all seen photos of women that do a lot of black heavy liner and they line the inner membrane with black. You're doing that, but you're doing it with a beige. And I don't like to do it with white because nobody's eye is the white. So it'll make your eyes look yellow if you put white in there. So you want to just go with, whatever matches. And there's such a color range now in flesh colored pencils for the inner membrane. It just makes you immediately awake. So if that's all you can do, that's great. If you have time to curl your lashes and throw on a little mascara, the curl is going to give you a huge boost. And
it really does.
Like these little things that wouldn't take that much time.
And do just a little massage while you do your skincare with your hands, with your beauty hack, with your gua sha that you have at home. Just get that blood flowing gently, and a sunscreen and SPF always. I know I was
just going to say
boring.
SPF is your BFF, right?
SPF, you got it. Yes, that's the truth.
And do you think that makeup that comes with SPF in it is sufficient, or do you think that you need to put on a separate SPF?
So I would say you need to have a separate SPF because most people that are going to be applying a foundation with an SPF, they aren't applying enough of it to get that SPF. So when they test a foundation in the lab, and let's say they're testing it to be an SPF 30, that is a thick, heavy, full coverage layer. And most of us in real life, we're just patting it on, with our fingers, with a brush, with a sponge. We're putting generally a sheer coat on. So you're definitely not getting the same application that they did in the lab to get that number. So it doesn't hurt to layer. Do one on top of the other, but I definitely say you want to make sure that your SPF is dedicated. You have a dedicated SPF.
Any advice that you can give our listeners? Any additional advice planning their wedding? Little odd things that could come up with makeup. I know the trial is an important thing. Things that you found throughout the years that have come up going, this is an important thing to know for a bride.
Yes. Again, knowing what you don't like is one of the most important things. Also, being flexible and really communicating with the person that's doing your hair and makeup and really making sure that you like them, because you're going to be with them in such an intimate environment. And some brides tend to get a little nervous for so many different reasons. Everybody reacts differently, but to really feel like your artist that you're working with hears you, that you trust them, that you feel confident in them, and that you really like their vibe and you like their energy, because they're going to be in your space as a bride during a period of time where you're going to maybe you need a little extra support. Maybe you need a little extra kindness. Maybe you need someone to kind of whip you into shape and say, get it together, girl. You know what you need. And make sure that that person's not only their talent, but their tone also matches you. And if you have a trial and you feel like, it's almost right, but not quite right, and they kind of are rushing you or making you feel like, it'll be great on the wedding day. No, it needs to be great that day. And if you happen to have your gown and you've had your hair and your makeup done, I always suggest going home, slipping on your gown, if possible, taking photos again from all angles, do a little video if you can, and just make sure you like the way that it all works together. You don't have to do that, but if you can, that's a great tip.
That's a great tip. I love the video aspect of that too.
Yes. And give yourself permission to change your mind. It happens. Just because you've gone and you've done your trial and you think you know what you like, sometimes there's, a year to 6 months in between. Give yourself permission to try something new. Give yourself permission to change it up.
I love that.
Yeah. Other than some of the TV and film work that I've done, really my wedding was the only time I've hired someone to do my makeup. And I took so many of those tips that I learned that day because I really felt beautiful on my wedding day. So taking those, products and techniques with me, it was actually a good friend of mine that did my makeup. That was her gift. She did all of our makeup. And it was such a cool thing. I still use those products when I want to go out and, look my best. I wouldn't use them every day, but I took it with me, which was great.
I love the feeling of having your makeup done. I really love that feeling.
Well, when you trust them, because have you ever gotten your
Yes.
makeup done before? I've had it done just for fun a couple of times and looked in the mirror and was frightened because it just like you said, come with your makeup on so
Yes.
that makeup artists can get a sense of who you are and what you like to accentuate or not accentuate. And this was a couple of times I've seen it and you look at yourself and you're just like, whoa, I look like a completely different person.
Mm-hmm.
It can
Trust
happen.
is huge. Yeah.
Yes, trust is huge and it can happen. And that's one of the other things that you can do is if you have been a bridesmaid or you've gone to a party or you've gone to an event and you thought, wow, I looked great. I love the way I looked in those photos. Take those to your trial and let them know.
That's a great piece of
If
advice.
same is true if the result was the opposite and you're like, oh, I was a bridesmaid. It was awful. Take those photos too. The more information you can give your artist, the more they can give you what you're going to want. So
perfect.
Yeah. And I always say, be honest, don't be polite, and being with someone that you feel like you can be honest with and someone that makes you feel really comfortable and empowered to tell them exactly what you want. Because brides have wanted some pretty wild things, but that's what they want. And I'm here to deliver. So,
Deliver. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that you just said you gave permission to not be polite.
Yes.
That's so important.
I think it's one of the biggest issues that we face, especially as women. We want to people please and we want to not offend. And there's a way to be your authentic self and say how you feel about something and it still be received well. And, just the person, if you're a professional, you can handle it.
I always tell people, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I do fashion, I do theater. I can do whatever you want. And this day, you're not coming to me to ask me, necessarily what I think you should look like. You're coming to me and I'm a tool to help you look the way you want to look. So if you want more of this or less of this, or if you want to try something completely different. And sometimes some brides, when they schedule their trials, they know that they want to try 2 or 3 makeup and hair looks, which is absolutely encouraged.
Yeah, so you have something to compare it to. That's great.
Could we ask one more question? Do we have time?
Of course.
Could we one more fast? Because I know we're on a time, but steamers, yay or nay? Yay or nay?
Well, if you tend to be someone that thinks if a little bit is good, more is better, I say nay, because you can overdo it with the steamer, especially if you're getting too close. For most people, if you're taking a warm shower, if you're taking a warm bath, the whole intention of a steamer is to soften the epidermis and soften any keratin, any dead skin. So, just a normal warm shower is going to soften that up enough. Estheticians use steamers when they're going to be doing extractions, and I hope you're not going to be doing extractions at home. So I would say that, if you like the feel of it, if you maintain like almost an arm's length distance, that's going to be safe. And you don't want to stay there too long because you can scald the skin and you don't want to have to burn and heal. So if it makes you very, very happy and you can do it safely, yes. Is it necessary? No. And can it be dangerous? Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm asking because so many of my girlfriends, it's like the new thing now. Steamers. They're,
it's come back.
It's huge.
Yes,
it's huge.
They've come back.
Pores don't actually open and close.
No.
From what I was reading, they don't open and close.
No. In fact, I just did a whole interview with a magazine about this. Pores do not open and close. They are not like elevator doors. You can't make them smaller, but you can make them bigger. So if you're not exfoliating and cleansing properly, they can get bigger. Also, another thing is people that have larger pores, they tend to want to over exfoliate, over cleanse, and dry out the skin. So the outside layer of the pore is actually collagen. If you dehydrate it, and if you spend a lot of time in the sun and you damage that collagen, you're going to get a larger pore. You actually want to hydrate to have less apparent pores. The more dehydrated your skin is, the bigger your pores will look.
I love hearing
Yes.
like such good and correct information.
Keep them
Girls,
clean, keep them hydrated, keep them fat
Yes.
and plump and happy.
Perfect.
Ooh,
Listen,
all right.
I know. Like I'm on a happy spree right now myself.
Yeah.
Hillary, you are a joy. Thank you so much for today, for all this great information, for everyone that's listening. Because I really don't know that many people that aren't into skincare, truthfully. You know, I know so many people that this is such a part of their life. And for anyone I promise, anyone that really isn't too into it, once you do get into it, it's so much fun. So
it's so fun to watch results and to feel good.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So let's say I'm a listener and I want to learn more about you. How can we find you? What's your social media, your website? And I know that there's going to be many because you do.
Yes.
You do multiple things. You're so talented.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so very much, ladies. It's been so nice to be here. You
as well, Hillary.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You can, my social on Instagram, I'm going to give you 3. You can go to Hillary Clark Beauty, and that's HILLARYCLARK Beauty. And that will give you a much more broad sense of all the different types of events that I work on and things that I'm involved in. You can also go to @Blush Beauty by Hillary Clark. That will show you an edited version of form of, some of my brides and some of that work. And then if you're interested in skincare, you can go to my newest baby. You can go to Beauty HAC, and that's Beauty H.A.C. to visit me there.
I'll be visiting.
Yeah.
Yes, visit. Yes, and send me questions. I love to answer questions. All of my contact information is there. You can email, you can then visit websites. And if you have specific beauty questions about your wedding day, about your skincare, about lessons, I read everything. I'm crazy, but I really love to connect with each and every one of you. So
that's really nice that you're so personal about it. You can see your passion.
Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah, I feel it. So thank you so much for reaching out and joining us today and educating us.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of So You're Engaged, Now What? If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen. It really helps.
If you'd like to reach out with any questions or suggestions, please email our team at podcast@livepicturestudios.com. This podcast is hosted by Jeannie Singari and Natasha Sherritt-Lacari.
It's produced by Jeannie, Natasha, Nicole Palmetti, and Christiana Krimmel. It's been edited by Crizelle Peniquito and Nicole Palmetti.
Artwork has been created by Joe Nunez, and music has been supplied by Ian Post and Artlist.io. And this podcast is brought to you by K-Vibe Studios.
Until next time, bye and happy planning.